Good morning. Gonna go for a scull today. It's Saturday, the 4th of May, I think. Just out for a walk with Tokyo at like 7 a.m. because he's been whining at me, sabotaging my whole morning routine. Life's hard. Yeah, got a new boat delivered. So I'll be going out on that. And yeah, I don't know. Just sort of break from the usual content where I've just been doing the talking heads and just value. Thought I could maybe do, I don't know, maybe a bit of a personal update, not that there's much going on, and film me rowing. Yeah, now that I've got this boat, I'm keen to, Colin at Edinburgh, he's been lending me them, but I felt like a bit of a pain anytime I ask. So yeah, finally got my own to go out and as well. Now that I'm a retired rower, I only go out when, and not competing as well, I only go out when the weather's good and there's no wind, which I think I'm probably going to stop, especially now that I've been out a few times and gotten the feel of it back. But yeah, enjoy the ride. Here we go. Woohoo! Oh yeah, how's the swag looking? Thanks Austin, he gave me this, he came to Glasgow and gave me this jacket. I gave him an edge rowing one piece. He gave me one of them Eastern European sort of style jackets. So I like it, it's really nice and light and a nice shell and very comfortable. I can see it being very good in the Scottish weather. But anyways. Yeah, so I don't want to drive and talk, mainly because I've got a good podcast that I'm listening to right now and I want to listen to it. Shout out Auto Glam, getting the car smelling good. This isn't going to balance, I'll just hold it. I think something you should focus on at all levels is having enough shape with your hands when you tap down and carrying them low as you go forward. Helps with high rate, helps with blade extraction, and helps with the catch when you come into the front. It allows you to square early and place more simply and more directly. So that's kind of one focus you can have on the back end when you're warming up. And the way I'll do it, I'll show you in the boat, but it's just some tapping and tapping square and then tapping away, maybe doing some tapping and then feathering, and some holds and stuff like that. The other thing you can think about when you're doing the back end stuff, if you don't want to do the shape, you can do obviously the blade extraction. If someone's not doing this is like top priority for getting speed. So just tapping down with the blade, take it out, literally that simple. Tap the blade out, square, turn it feathered. That's another really good one to nail and to take up to high rate. And then the third one of the finish, I think you can really work on, this is more when you get into the arms only, is that connection that you feel through the feet and that idea of drawing through and you're still pushing with your feet even as you draw through your feet, and you should still feel that connection through your skeleton. Because if you're just sitting on the seat and you're not pushing through your foot plate, you're not really moving the boat, you're just kind of like, letting your arms come through for the sake of it. So those are kind of three things you can think about if you want to do a back end focus. For the front end, there's so many things you can do. So this is generally how I would do this. But if you're a bit newer, you can start off by doing the front end from like half slide. But to be honest, as long as it's safe, like just do it. And if you fall in, it's not a big deal. If you don't want to get wet, don't pick a water sport. But yeah, tapping at the front. So I'll show you it in the boat, but basically just tapping at the front. You can practice keeping your shoulders still. You can practice staying low staying loose in your shoulders. You can practice posture. You can practice, your rocked over position, your compressed position. As you start to move away from the tapping into the nudging, Again, you can work on that stillness. You can start to think about your connection and loading it in the hips and in the lats. You can work on, as you start to nudge it as well, you can start to work on how you're placing it. So how you're timing that lift in that place with that push, and you're not rolling the blade in, you're placing the blade on the way forward, and you keep placing until the water is filled, and then it's locked, and then you push. So that's something else. I don't even know how many that was. I just said that you can think about for the front end, but I'm getting better when people walk by me and not give enough buck. Yeah. Anyways, you just got to pretend they're not there. Anyways, and yeah, I guess those are the main ones for the front end. And then as you build into the legs only, you can work on really separating your leg drive from your body swing. That's a big one, and that hang. And then yeah, basically once you do that leg drive and then that back opening, and you're coming to the finish, then you're onto what you were working on with that draw and that press to the finish through the feet. It's a simple sport. Take the blade out square. Tap down, keep your hands low, square your blades, lift your blades on the way forward, stay loose, let the spoon fill up with water, then drive and load with your hips and your legs and your lats. Stay loose as you drive, you do your legs only, and then bodies after that, and then connect all the way through the finish, and then do that again. That's literally it. Do that at rate 32, 34. And push yourself hard and you'll go quick. And do a lot of UT2 training. Anyways, right, okay, I'm gonna go. Bye! Use your best judgment on it. My usual warm-up, depending on if I'm working on the front end or the back end, my technical focus, I'll often start with that part of the stroke and either do tapping at the finish or I'll do tapping at the front, which I'll show you. If I start at the finish, starting kind of my second 2K, I'll then do the other end to just make sure I've technically warmed up both areas. But yeah, the first one that I do is pretty simple. Sitting up nice and tall. Sitting up nice and tall. Elbows out. Ideally, you kind of have your elbows either, we were talking about this with one of our athletes the other day, but ideally have your elbows sort of in line with your hands. If you have your elbows below your hands, often you kind of have to use more of your body, whereas if you have your elbows up a little bit more, it's a bit easier to tap down like that. My old coach Ricky used to talk about, imagine you're pushing yourself like out of a pool, you'd have your elbows up and drive down like that, so you kind of want to start like that. And yeah, just always checking posture as well, making sure that the chest is up before we do anything else. Maybe just have a bit even pressure on the foot plate and just start tapping when we're ready. Just nice up and down. And again, a big thing with this stuff is in your head thinking about ingraining this motion when the boat's moving, which is the thing people can do a drill really well, and then as soon as you start moving, forget everything that they were doing. So yeah, just playing around with the balance. You see it kind of went down a little bit there, and yeah, from there, just building up with the hands. And you see, I do this square blade. I think it's quite good to do, and I'm not being in the single that much, so kind of catching the blade a little bit, but just finding that nice even press through the foot plate, even when you're doing this arms only section, and just sort of staying nice and loose and nice and clean, and having that simple clean extraction where you're keeping this posture still and nothing else is moving. And yeah, just every time I go to pull and draw, I'm thinking push through the feet, push through the feet, push through the feet, and press, and then time that extraction with the blades. Also, again, this is for another video probably, but I'm just trying to get some backsplash on the spoon, even when I'm just doing these little kind of arm taps. And then the second part I'll often go into is the arms and bodies, and I kind of, yeah, so there we go, arms and bodies. Again, with a slight knee bend, that's fine. I'm just really, I will overextend when I do this. I treat this almost as like a kind of stretch as well, where I'll rock further I'll rock forward far further than I normally do. And that's essentially, you know, the kind of the two parts of the technical warm-up I'll do from the back end. And then from there, it's pretty much just making sure I keep that clean tap at the finish there, and then I bring it with me all the way up into the front. So yeah, I always you recommend doing these square blades, even if it feels shitty and you kind of notice that you're scraping the water a lot. The whole point in technical warm-ups isn't for it to feel good, it's to challenge yourself and get you mentally switched on for the session. But yeah, and then at some point, once I go into the feathering, I'll just make sure that I try and have that same motion with the hands as I do on the square blade. So if we look sort of here, trying to keep roughly the same motion that we do with the hands when we had the square blade. If you want to think about the finish, like you're just about to do a square blade exit, you're rowing square blade, and then as soon as you take the blades out, you've changed your mind, and you're going to feather the blade. So that's kind of another way to think about it. But yeah, just kind of cover all areas of the technical parts of my warm-up without going into too much detail here. But yeah, we'll kind of go to the front end part. So this is the front end warm-up. So this is me, I paddle 2K up, and as I said before, I'm going to do 2K down now, but I'll start this kind of 2K leg as from the front. And again, if I was working on the front end, I would have done the front end first. Anyways, starting off, just sitting up nice and still, weight on the foot plate, basically practicing this up and down motion with the blade, and trying to make sure you stay super still in the shoulders and super loose, you know, in the traps, and that there's nothing going on. And when we're really kind of challenged when we're reaching out here, but it's a good chance to just push your skill level. And yeah, make sure you're in a safe place to do this. You've got someone, if you fell in, you're confident. If you're in dangerous waters, I probably wouldn't do this drill, but if you're in the northern hemisphere and it's starting to get summertime, it's maybe a good time to start trying this. So basically all it is tapping up and down. As you can see, what you should try and do is, well, make sure that you pivot from the shoulders and not from the elbows. So I'm not doing that this well here. Again, I'm still a bit rusty. Yeah, we want to do this motion the same way we would when the boat's moving. And then the kind of second thing you can work on is just flat hands as well, and try this motion with your hands flat, and then when you regrip and let your fingers go back around, it shouldn't feel or sound any different. And what we're trying to do is get this motion, this lift with the blades, this way of putting the blades in while we're moving with the boat running underneath us, while we're racing in the last 250 at rate 34 or something like that. Yeah, and then just starting off with nudges, trying to bring in this timing. Again, there's a lot on the catch here I could talk about, but I just want to kind of cover the basics of this warm-up. But yeah, trying to time that loose lift with the timing of the legs, and bringing that all in. So yeah, just making sure that we're nice and connected at the catch, and that thing I talk about all the time, which is letting the spoon fill before you push. And yeah, you get some really good speed when you start doing that as well. You get really nice connection. Yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. You know, legs only, try and do this square blade as well, and then build into the arms and bodies. And yeah, just bringing it in again when we go full arms all the way in. We're just thinking about, I'm doing a legs only stroke, and then I change my mind at the last second. So yeah, and then yeah, I don't think I filmed any more of this vlog, so this is probably going to be it. I'm going to be out in the single a bit more. I've been lent a boat from Wintech, so I'm able to get out whenever I want, which is really exciting. So I'm going to do some more of this content, and yeah, I'll be filming a lot more for our kind of athletes as well. So feel free, let me know what you found useful if you have any comments, and yeah, like and subscribe and all that jazz.